CIE, formerly known as IGCSE, is an international curriculum from Cambridge, UK. It provides an all-round development of learners, par academic and socials, which helps learners become global citizens. Without much further delay, I would like to welcome our chief speaker for the session, Mrs. Tanya Valecha. Mrs. Valecha is a principal at Rustomjee Cambridge International School and Junior College, Dahisar, offering IGCSE and A-Levels curriculum. Under her leadership, the school has featured in the top 20 international schools across the country for the years 2013, 14, 16, 17, 18 and 2019 in the education world. Ma'am was also featured and awarded among the 100 most influential principals in the country in the year 2016. She has commendable work for the British Council for ISA evaluations and was selected as a Cambridge trainer for India by the CIE Professional Development team. She was awarded the Global Teacher Accreditation by the British Council with a commendation for research on bullying in classrooms in the year 2014. She developed an online learning module for English in grade 10 after completing Coursera blended learning module. And now here we have Mrs. Tanya Valecha.
Good morning. I'm here today to talk to you about the Cambridge Assessment International Education. The more popular terms, of course, are the IGCSE board and the A-level exams. Before I start talking to you about this topic, I would like to take the opportunity to thank Utsav Tiwari, who has been a student of my school and who is currently leading and working very closely with Rahul Education, as well as Soumya Tiwari, who has also been an alumnus of our school. It's not just my sentiment, but I believe every teacher who feels the same, that once you teach a child, they remain a part of your heart forever. And nothing gives you more pleasure than seeing the lovely children that were under you bloom into confident young men and women. I'm sure Utsav and Soumya, your parents are as proud of you as I am. Let's go on to the topic that I am here for today. The Cambridge exams of IGCSE and A-Levels are currently offered in more than 150 countries. And in India as well, you now have Cambridge schools spread out across the country. The board has gained massive popularity in the last 5 or 8 years particularly. And this is mostly due to the fact that today the world is a smaller place. You have people that you know everywhere. You're able to connect with them more easily than what was possible in the past. And as a result, the exposure to the international boards of education, the international schools, is higher than what it was in the past. Parents are more aware of the options available to them. During our schooling years, we had our local SSC board. We also had 2 national boards, the CBSE board and the ICSE board. And today, with everything that has opened up, we have 2 international boards in India. The one which we are speaking about today is, of course, the Cambridge board, or popularly known as the IGCSE exams. One of the questions I'm asked very, very frequently is, my child doesn't want to go abroad, so should he study the international board in his early years? And I would like to correct this misconception that is predominantly there in a lot of parents' minds. The Cambridge board is not meant only for children who want to go abroad. It is a board that opens for your child all across the world, including India. What I'm trying to tell you is that in my own school, in the last 14 batches that we've had, we have more than 95% of our students choosing to continue their education in India. and a small percentage choosing to go abroad. All these children who are choosing to stay back in India have been accepted in leading institutions in Mumbai, and if they choose professional studies across India as well. And having an international base with IGCSE has not actually proved to be any kind of deterrent for them, if at all, because it is skills based and focuses on developing a child's thinking skills. It actually has worked very, very positively for them, whatever they choose to do in the future, whether it is pursuing their education or actually even going out into the work arena. The skills that they acquire are focused on practical applications and skills, and that is why they are valued much, much more higher in the real world scenario as opposed to looking or reading from a textbook. How does the Cambridge Board develop a learner? Well, the most simplest answer is that it helps your child develop application and practical knowledge skills instead of the rote learning method. But when I look at the Cambridge Board and I put a student in front of me, what excites me most about the Cambridge Board is that it looks at developing certain attributes or traits in every learner. It aspires that every child should be confident in himself, confident in what the child is doing. The child should be innovative. The child should be able to brainstorm and think and apply his mind to come up with innovative solutions or creative inputs for anything that is asked of him. How does the Cambridge Board help the learners, the students? Well, yes, the Cambridge Board is practical oriented. Yes, the Cambridge Board focuses on application and developing the mind as opposed to rote learning. But what makes Cambridge extra special to me is the fact that it focuses on learner attributes, developing traits in learners that are essential to cope with the rapidly changing world around us. As per Cambridge, every learner of Cambridge should have these 5 attributes. They should be confident not just with themselves, but with everything that they do and everything that they aspire to be. Innovative. Cambridge definitely believes that there is no one shoe fits all, and innovation must be encouraged in every child. Engaged. It is believed that children can be intrinsically motivated only when they are engaged in their own learning process, when they are put in the driver's seat. The remaining 2 attributes are even more important. They are reflective and responsible. Cambridge does believe that the student should be responsible towards himself, towards the community around him, towards his own learning. Everything around him adds to his understanding of responsibility, and most importantly, reflective. A learner who pauses to reflect and see what did he learn, how did he learn, how could he make it better, and is constantly thinking on how to make things better and change and redo it in a better way. These are the 5 essential attributes that Cambridge believes every learner should have. And that is the beauty of the Cambridge Board. It's not looking at a syllabus or a portion to be done or a chapter to be completed, but it is looking at developing these attributes in learners through the portion, through the syllabus, through the teaching methods and the assessment methods applied. And that is what makes the Cambridge Board extra special to me, particularly where learners are concerned. One of the other ways Cambridge reaches out and helps the learners is that it offers a huge variety of subjects for children to take. So I could have a student in 10th standard who loves physics and chemistry, and along with it shows a flair or passion for business as well, and could take these combination subjects for the grade 10 exams. I'm not sure which other board allows flexibility in terms of these kind of choices and this kind of a variety for children in particular. Another fascinating thing is that there is constant research going on with the Cambridge body, and they come up with changes to their syllabus that make the syllabus more relevant to today. And at the same time, they also introduce subjects that they think are crucial for today's generation. For example, there is a subject that Cambridge introduced a couple of years back called the Global Perspective subject. As a subject, it's a wonderful subject because it makes students aware of not just what's happening in their hometown or their city or their country, but what is happening in the world around them. And it allows the child to develop his or her own thinking towards these global issues. In other words, it actually makes the child a global citizen, not just a responsible citizen, but a responsible global citizen with a high sense of awareness of what is happening around him, as well as a sense of critique to be able to discern and assimilate this information correctly. Other than that, Cambridge looks at developing a student's thinking skills. So we have a range of activities that are done to support the child in every way to develop these thinking skills. A 2 plus 2 would basically remain a 4, whichever board the child studies in. It could be the SSC, the ICSE, the CBSE, or the Cambridge board. I think what would make it different would be how it is taught in the classroom, how it is delivered, how the teacher and the syllabus and the assessment would require the child to think. I think that's where the difference would come in terms of how Cambridge differs from the other boards. I did mention that the syllabus is frequently reviewed and is much more relevant and dynamic and offered in essence for the child of today. Before we close, I would like to thank Rahul Education, Utsav Tiwari and Soumya Tiwari, and of course Rishika for being a part of this webinar. And I hope I have been able to provide you some useful insights into how Cambridge education adds value to a learner. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Valecha, for the valuable insights into CAIE. I'm sure it would have benefited all the stakeholders from the education sector. A heartfelt thank you to Mrs. Valecha once again from each one of us at Rahul Education. Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker for the webinar is a very bright student who has personally undergone the CIE grind. I welcome Ms. Rishika Pujari. Ms. Rishika Pujari is a software engineer by profession at L&T Infotech who pursued her grade 10 in IGCSE with 7 subjects securing 91% and then went on to do her grade 12 in HSE scoring 70%. Furthermore, she pursued her engineering in EXTC at SLRTCE of Rahul Education with an aggregate CGPA of 7.9 out of 10. Along with balancing academics, she was also elected as the first General Secretary of the Engineering College and one of the core members of the Utsav Fest conducted annually at the Rahul Education Group. I welcome Ms. Rishika Pujari.
Hello everyone, I am Rishika Pujari, working as a software developer intern in L&T Infotech. Today everybody talks about globalization. It is said that the entire world is a global village. So, how does a local like you and me get a global perspective? Well, it all starts from the schooling days, and I'm here to share my own experiences of the same. I was given this opportunity in my secondary years of schooling to choose between IGCSE board that was offered by the CIE and ICSE. And after rigorous researches of my own, but obviously opted in for IGCSE to get that global exposure that I had in my mindset at that time. And well, I believe it is one of the best decisions that I had taken in my founding years. So talking about my experiences, what I loved about this was the advanced curriculum that focuses more on the applications of the technical concepts that were taught to us rather than the traditional mugging methodology that works in ICSE. It also works well for students who really dislike rote learning, and believe me, I was really bad at mugging, so this worked really well for me. So it is a really fantastic board as long as one chooses to study abroad. It is conceptual based and research based learning where you need to explore and think wide. So instead of mugging up, you really have to logically think and apply your brains to answer the question. So I would say one really learns to learn actually here. IGCSE compared to other schools taught me several things the exams may have not taught me otherwise, be it responsibility of making your own notes because you didn't have resources for the same, time management, organization, logical based reasoning, and so on. Application based questions really help the student to understand the topic really well. They can be a bit tricky at the first as you have to relate everything to the situation and the scenario provided, but you are good to go after you have a certain practice in it. One thing I liked about is the fact that we had a choice over our subjects in ninth that I thought really helped our students get a better grade, because we only had to study the subjects that we want to study. And we were given scientific calculators, which made it easy for us to solve problems in science and maths. Coming to the best part that I had in IG board was the core and extended curriculum that was offered to us. Which means, I would say, for example, I take up science subjects like physics, chemistry, biology, maths, and I want to take up economics. I am good at all the PCMB subjects, but I'm not so good at economics. So what I do is I take up the extended mode for PCMB subjects where I learn these at a greater depth, while I take up the core curriculum in economics, which is a lighter version of the extended curriculum, which will teach me economics with only the basic concepts to grasp in. Hence, though I'm not mastering all of these subjects, I'm still the jack of all trades because I have economics also as part of my curriculum. Also, I felt it gave me an upper hand in developing my soft skills, as I told before, like presentation skills, communication skills, which, believe me, is one of the crucial parts to enter the corporate world. Because being an engineer, I know even if I'm technically sound, I really need those communication skills to strive in the industry and reciprocate the work that I do. So literally there are soft skill trainings, courses out there just to build these nominal courses. So why pay for them when you can actually learn it through this curriculum? All these things apart, let's go back to the question that arises a lot is what after IGCSE 10th? Is it compulsory to take up A-levels in the 11th or 12th in IGCSE? Will it be a waste if you switch your IGCSE board to state board or ICSE? Or parents would have this question that will IGCSE make your child less competitive for entrance exams? Well, I think I can really impart on this well. So this was about 8 years ago where I freshly passed my 10th and there was this great buzz of joining IIT coaching for our entrance exam in JEE, which evidently I did join, but reluctantly I had to switch my board to HSC. So I really did fear that I would have a problem in maths since we were so accustomed of using calculators in IGCSE, and I guess this was a very common problem that we all encountered who had switched our boards. But Believe me, we had real good 2 years to prepare for our entrance exams and boards, that is 11th and 12th, and get used to this methodology, since we knew that after getting into engineering we would again be using the same calculus. So this was just a matter of 2 years to get used to it. So yeah, and also we had an upper hand in our command over English, which was a plus point, and studying the PCB subjects in HSC board. This was not much of an issue because science taught is the same everywhere, whichever board be it. So for me, it turned out pretty much fine, as I got into a fine engineering institute and also got placed in a multinational company, as I said before, which is L&T Infotech. As for my friends who switched boards during their 10th, I remember one of my friend has become a chemical engineer, graduated from IIT Kanpur. One is a medical student in Russia. And I also had friends who had taken up commerce subjects in their 10th. That was economics, business administration, accountings and all. So I see them really doing well today. One has become a CA, one has become an investment banker, one is an analyst in a good bank. So yeah, it was pretty much good for all of us, I believe. And this was really all my experiences. But I would really suggest our parents watching this to really encourage their students to take up A-levels, and so that they get an even better exposure, and really encourage the students, I mean your children, to go abroad to get that exposure, because it is one of a lifetime experiences that you will have. I hope I've been able to clear some of the minds here and not confused you more. Good health to you all and really happy learning.
Thank you, Rishika, for sharing your experience about CAIE and the transition to HSC and furthermore. Adding to Mrs. Valecha's statement regarding that a learner need not only go abroad after pursuing CAIE, they can very well achieve the crux of success like Ms. Rishika. Thank you once again, Rishika, from each one of us at Rahul Education. The next and final speaker for the webinar is a young, bright and a dynamic child, someone for whom I have high regards for. She has always been studious and a bright personality, Miss Soumya Tiwari, a bright student who is currently pursuing her A-levels in science. She scored 92% in a grade 10 IGCSE, wherein she had opted for 6 subjects. Currently, she is pursuing 5 subjects at A-levels in English, Math and Statistics, Physics, Chemistry and Business Studies. She is a school president and also works as an associate at Evolve Ideas, an online social media news platform. So I welcome Ms. Soumya Tiwari in front of you.
A very good morning to everyone present in this webinar. My name is Soumya Tiwari and I hope everyone is doing safe and sound at home. I'm a student currently pursuing the Cambridge A-level. Firstly, I would like to thank the management of Rahul Education and the principal of Rahul International School, Mr. Regal Banker Sir, for giving me this opportunity to share my experience with the CIE. I'm extremely honored to be here as a student in the panel, alongside my mentor, Mrs. Tanya Valecha ma'am, and a senior, Ms. Rishika Pujari. So let me tell you a little bit more about myself. I passed the Cambridge IGCSE in the year 2019 with an overall of 92%. I then moved on to study my A-levels with 5 subjects, and I'm currently in the second year, that is the 12th standard. I'm also the president of the Students' Council at my high school, and I work as an associate at Evolve Ideas, which is an online social media news platform. So the 2 years I spent at secondary school have been exceptional. I saw myself evolve from a little child filled with mischief and play to a teenager full of opinions and ambition. I can say without doubt that my academics at the time helped me drive this change. The unconventional teaching, learning and testing methods at IGCSE inculcated in me a sense of enthusiasm towards learning. Not only did I gain an abundance of knowledge, I also became a competitive person, who was always looking towards bettering herself. This syllabus challenged my mind and generated curiosity even towards the most mundane concepts. So rewinding back to almost 4 years ago, when I was just promoted to the 9th grade. which is the first year of IGCSE. I always aspired to be an ambitious adult. However, at the time, I was totally confused as to what career I would be choosing for myself, which I believe is a challenge for most students. That's when we were offered a range of subjects to choose for our IGCSEs. This was the first thing that I absolutely loved about the board. Unlike other boards where students need to select just one stream to study, like commerce, science, or arts, IGCSE offers subjects across the three fields. The opportunity to choose subjects like this worked to my advantage. So I mixed it up a little and chose the three sciences along with business studies from the commerce field and mathematics and English as a first language. Hence, I got to explore science and commerce both. Today, I can say that many students who opted for IGCSE like me possess knowledge in not just the career that they're studying, but also other fields. I'm a student of science, but I can still understand conversations and put in my opinions about business and economics. Moving on, the second thing that I love about CAIE is that it has a practical approach towards learning. I'm sure you must have heard that IGCSE does not believe in rote learning. I'll tell you how. We are tested more upon the understanding of the concept than what the concept is. Hence, every question that I have come across in IGCSE and A-level is deeply application based and different from the others. We are given scenarios and are made to use our knowledge to analyze the case, then answer the question. There are no direct questions. For example, I'll give you examples of the subjects that I have studied. For example, business papers at IGCSE and A-level both include case studies of non-existing businesses. We aren't directly asked what a business theory is. We are supposed to analyze the business case and use the aspects of the business and apply those while answering our questions. The marks for analysis, application, and evaluation are worth more than the marks given for knowledge. This method of testing is common across all the subjects. Sciences also include a practical paper, both at IGCSE and A-level, but also an alternative to practical paper. In the ATP paper, we are expected to use our knowledge to answer experimental questions. Hence, there is literally no scope of scoring good marks if a student just decides to mug up the textbook. The only practice is to solve a handsome amount of past questions. And believe me when I say, I have barely touched my physics textbook at IGCSE and A-level both. So furthermore, IGCSE is much beyond just textual questions. I hope just textual concepts. I hope you've understood that by now. But beyond that, I have found myself researching concepts beyond the scope of the textbook. Maybe just because of the ignited inquisitiveness or because the subject truly demands it. I'll again give you some examples. For a brief period in the 9th grade, I studied global perspectives as a subject. It was recently introduced at the time, and it is honestly by far the most unique subject that I have ever come across. We are supposed to have a group project for the board to assess, wherein we need to team up with other students, decide a topic and name, and use experimental methods to test our hypothesis. The result has to include an outcome and a conclusion. That's not it. We need to write an individual and a group report, including our course of action, difficulties faced, and how we could have improved our research. Further on, the comprehension paper of global perspectives demanded an extensive knowledge of current affairs, where we needed to pen down our opinions on any situation happening across the globe, from child labor to gender equality to racism and discrimination, among many others. This subject made me realize that there is so much more to explore in the world, and there's so much work that's needed to be done to make the world a better place. It matured my thinking and made me explore and understand myself better because of the reflection papers and because of situations happening around the world. It also taught me important research and team working skills. Every session of the global perspective subject was challenging. But there was something to learn, something new to learn every time. And I would 100% recommend this subject to be taken up by students in schools where it's offered. And because of all of this, I say that IGCSE has helped me evolve as a person. Another subject that required external research was English language. English language at the IGCSE level is unlike any other board. We are not tested on grammar like the other boards are. We are expected to know most of grammar by the 8th grade. We are tested on our writing and analytical skills in the form of creative and directed writing. And also we are given a comprehension where we need to reflect on the writer's work. Throughout the 2 years of preparation for English language, we only practiced past paper questions. I found myself studying the Oxford Dictionary to improve my vocabulary and reading short stories online in order to increase my creativity while writing the essays. Also, business at A level requires us to analyze examples of existing businesses and economic affairs or current economic affairs in order to frame our answers well. So there also it requires a good and hardcore track on current affairs. In A levels I chose general English. It is a newly introduced subject, so I took a risk there. But I was totally done with English language at IGCSE. So in general English at A level, we are given, in the first paper, we are given 10 argumentative topics from various fields. It can be from economics, politics, art, literature, science and technology, even music and drama for that matter. We needed to pick a topic and justify our argument using evidences which should last up to 700 words. For us to have evidences ready for absolutely any topic in our exam, we needed to read newspapers and keep a track on world affairs. Even in the 11th grade, our teacher made us present newspaper cutouts in class, and we made notes so that we could go through the data before writing our exam. Hence, CAIE has given me more than just theoretical knowledge. It has taught me how to apply this knowledge in the practical world. Since I have started working professionally, I now understand how important it is to be able to apply knowledge at work, which is very different than just remembering concepts and writing them on a piece of paper. So I'm very thankful for the board for helping me gain more practical, logical and analytical reasoning. Other subjects that my friends had opted for, different subjects that my friends had opted for, included music, drama, art and design, and even media studies. These subjects, I doubt if there's any other board except for IB that offers these subjects for the 10th grade and the 12th grade. These subjects demanded art and design demands the students to design the entire coursework at 10th grade and at 11th and 12th grade both, and it's sent to the board for assessment. Media studies includes the students making a short film about a particular issue and sending it into the board. So these subjects helped my friends at a very young age gain practical skills in the competitive field of art and media. It helped them create their portfolio right from the 9th grade up to the 12th grade, and this portfolio helped them gain admissions in the topmost universities of art and design in the world. Lastly, I would like to talk about the belief that IGCSE, A-level and even IB students for that matter are not able to deal with Indian competitive exams and Indian education system. While I do agree that the teaching method is very different, I don't believe that it's entirely impossible. I've had many friends shift from IGCSE to HSC or CBSE or ISC for the 11th and 12th grade. And I've also had many seniors do the same and who have also flourished into becoming successful doctors and engineers through the Indian education system. I also, for that matter, was preparing for the JEE exam, that is the Indian competitive exam for engineering, in the start of 11th grade for a brief period of time, only to eventually realize that I didn't want to study engineering. So the common difficulties that we face during this switch is firstly the math. The math that is taught to us at IGCSE that most students select is extended math. Extended math is a little limited compared to what other boards are taught. We also have the privilege of using calculators right from the 9th grade. The calculators are given to us for solving complex calculations faster in order to complete the paper. However, many students find themselves addicted to the calculator. So yes, with a little bit of practice and it gets better, eventually it's fine. I'd like to talk about how the IGCSE and A-level helped me prepare for my entrance exams for international education. For example, the SATs, PSAT, ACT, and even the IELTS exam. The syllabus runs very much parallel, and the English that we are taught at IGCSE and A-level, like I mentioned, is very challenging. Hence, the entrance exams were easy for us to cope with. To sum it all up, I would CAIE with other Indian boards because the method of teaching, like I mentioned before, is very different. I've had batchmates who had scored but still found it difficult to answer application-based questions in the 11th grade of A-level and questions that we could answer easily at even IGCSE level. Different, and I'm still very thankful for my parents to have chosen this board for me. It gave me a global edge through its international education, and like I mentioned, it helped me groom my personality, my thoughts, and made me a better individual. So thank you so much for listening to me. I hope I was helpful. A very nice day ahead, and be safe, stay home. Thank you.
Thank you, Soumya, for this amazing talk and the insights you have given us. She's a life example as to how CA subjects beyond the traditional pure science, pure commerce field. Talking about GP, that is the global perspective, Soumya weighed in clear points as to how the subject has benefited her and her fellow mates as well. Thank you, Soumya, once again from Rahul Education. With the end of this webinar, everyone for tuning into, I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to the speakers and the management for conducting this webinar. For more information, you can click on the website bio. I wish everyone to remain safe and healthy. Thank you.